Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, June 7th, 2018. I'm Keith Tebow. Tonight we have an update on the feasibility study for a potential new Diamond Regional Vocational High School. Details about free workshops to give a helping hand to the small business community in Fall River, and a preview of a proposed Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall to be built at Fall River's Bicentennial Park. But first, let's check in with the news headlines of the week. We bring in Will Richmond, the digital news editor at the Herald News. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. Good to see you again.
Good. It's been a couple of weeks since we've both been on together. I was off last week. You were off 2 weeks ago, but it's good to have the A-team back. If I guess you can call us the A-team. The A-team back for another week. All right, this week it's budget time in the city of Fall River. The Fall River City Council actually tonight will be holding the first of two budget hearings on the fiscal 2019 Fall River budget. There's a lot to talk about with the spending plan. We talked about it a few weeks ago about the mayor's priorities for the coming year. Now the City Council has its chance at the budget. I guess, Will, the first question is, I guess, to go over, and we've talked about this over the past couple of years, there really very little that the city can do in terms of the budget, in terms of making any major changes. Is that correct? They can cut, but they can't add. Is that correct?
Right. There's essentially three things that the City Council can do with the budget. You mentioned one, they can reduce the budget, they can approve it, or they can reject it flat out. So, like you said, they can't add anything to the budget, and they can't make any sort of specific, very specific cuts as well. You may recall last year they made some suggested cuts, and then it was up to the administration either to follow through with those recommendations or make their own, which in the end they ended up making their own decisions on the cuts. But yeah, there are some very limited actions that the council can take.
So in terms of cuts, they can make a cut to a specific department or even a specific line item, but they can't make specific requests on specifically, this position shouldn't be funded or the like, correct?
Right, and by line item, it's the very broad line items that delineate to, like, closer to, like you said, within a department. I think we ran into the problem last year. As an example, the city eventually, based on the cuts recommended by the council, cut money from the MIS department, which then led to, some slight cuts that came to other departments that trickled down through that. So, it's a process that it's still getting some feeling out, I think, as well, since the budget process changed a couple years ago when it was revealed that they did have a little bit more cutting policy than they did in the past as well, even.
Now, with the implementation last year of the new city charter, has there been any issues in terms of the new charter and the responsibility of the city council when it comes to budget season?
I don't think we've seen any really responsibilities changing yet. That may, certainly we are seeing, and this isn't so much from a charter change that I think was directed through the new one. But the budget was prepared earlier. It now has to be submitted on May 15th instead of June 1st. That's leading to budget hearings, at least this year, are happening a little bit earlier than they have in the past as well. So, the process does seem to be speeding up a little bit, or at least moving up. Well, we'll wait to see on the speeding up process as this goes forward.
One major aspect of the budget is the funding or lack thereof of a pay-as-you-throw program. Mayor Correa has announced that he would like to have the program scrapped this fiscal year with a possible end to the program sometime early this fall. The City Council Ordinance Committee took up that recommendation last night. Fill us in on what happened.
Yeah, so the Ordinance Commission, it appears that at least 4 members of the council, and this is information coming out of that committee meeting on Wednesday night, at least 4 members of the council do not appear to be in favor of eliminating the program. So that certainly means that there's either a swing vote sitting out there, or all of the councilors have made up their mind, and these are the 4 that have decided to vote against the repeal of the program. That's something we'll have to see as the budget process goes forward here as well. But at least at this point, it appears to be a close vote on what happens with pay-as-you-throw.
So if there are 4 who already are in favor of keeping the program in place, Of course, we need 5 votes for anything to pass or to not pass in the City Council. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's that 5th vote out there to keep the pay-as-you-throw program ongoing. If it were to happen that the Council votes do not get rid of the program, what does that mean in terms of the budget?
Well, there's certainly a revenue aspect in there. I mean, it would return if they do not get rid of the program. It would mean that there would be the roughly $2 million in revenue that the program generates would be back in the budget again. This either means that other changes could be made to adjust for that increase in revenue that's going to come from it. Additional spending could take place because now there's another $2 million coming in. But at this point, I don't think the city administration is going to sort of tip a hand on what their next step might be, because they're firmly for the idea of removing the program at this point.
So as of right now, the pay-as-you-throw program not necessarily on its way out. We'll have to see how the City Council votes moving forward. Again, they're having a budget hearing tonight, and also I believe next Thursday on the 14th. When are they expected to vote? Would it be at that 14th meeting, or would it be at a subsequent meeting?
It could certainly come as early as the 14th meeting, but past precedent would suggest that there'll be at least one more scheduled, and if there's any sort of changes that come about, it could trigger more budget meetings as well. So I'd be surprised that this wraps up next week with that meeting, and that there'll be more scheduled before the end of the month.
And also the Ordinance Committee looking at some new positions or some altered positions that the Correa administration is looking to implement in the new 2019 budget. What were some of those positions that the committee looked at last night? Was Tourism Director one of them?
Well, there's some combination of positions here. There are new positions that the budget creates, and the Tourism Director is one of them that you mentioned. There's some in the Department of Community Maintenance that are being added, and some other positions as well. And then there are also positions that exist in which the salary structure is being changed.
Right.
What had previously been stipends for those positions, the administration is looking to add those into the salary structure and make that part of the salary. And eliminate the stipends part. So essentially that person would make the same amount that they currently do, but it would all be classified as salary and not salary and stipends.
Right. All right. Again, we will see this play out over the next few weeks as the budget needs to be in place before July 1st. Something in the paper, actually in today's paper, again, some more sobering numbers in the city of Fall River in terms of Fall River's first responders in dealing with the process of overdoses within the city of Fall River. Brian Fraga reporting today that thus far the city has recorded nearly 400 drug overdoses just through the first 5 months of 2018, and 25 of those resulting in fatalities. Again, numbers that for a lot of people who fortunately do not have to deal with a loved one who is addicted to drugs, these are really sobering numbers.
Yeah, certainly. The city had seen a slight decrease from 2016 to 2017 when it came to the overdose and the overdose death numbers. It appears at this point the trend is certainly going back to where it was, with an increase. As you mentioned, as I have some of the numbers here, there were 914 overdoses in 2017. It would seem that is, at this point, we're likely to go higher than that. That had come after there were 934 in 2016. So this is the second year in a row that May has been a particularly bad month for overdoses in Fall River. And the number of deaths is certainly concerning as well. At this point, we're not sure if there was a bad batch. There was extra heroin with fentanyl mixed in, which has been a problem. I know just recently in the last couple of weeks, the Rhode Island Department of Health had issued a warning related to opioid overdoses in that state as well. So there seems to be a regional problem happening with this that unfortunately we've become all too familiar with.
And I know that Brian also reported that that number of 395 overdoses, those are just that have been reported by police in terms of the calls they get. There may have been others that either have not been reported or that were reported as something different when it was first called in to local authorities. So again, definitely some troubling numbers here in the city of Fall River. Finally, Will, it is graduation season across the South Coast. A number of high schools have had their commencement exercises. Bristol Community College last week. I believe Durfee High School is tomorrow evening. So always a festive time to celebrate the accomplishments of our youth and our students.
Yeah, certainly there's, hundreds of high school seniors entering the next phases of their lives this week. We have, in addition to Durfee tomorrow night, like you mentioned, Diamond students are graduating tonight. So the Fall River area will be flush of celebrations, and hopefully it will be a safe weekend for all that are out there celebrating their graduation or a loved one's graduation.
Absolutely. All right, Will, what's coming up over the next few days at the paper?
Well, as you mentioned, graduations, we'll be wrapping up coverage of all of those ceremonies. As well, we'll continue to kind of look at this opioid issue, as it also marks the 1 year of the Recover Fall River attempts as well to hold their drug resource center and make a dent through things that way. So take a look at that in the paper this weekend.
All right, well, sounds good. We'll talk next week.
All right, have a good weekend, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media news right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Event Marketing Graphic Designer. Meditech, located at 101 Martine Street, is looking for a full-time event marketing graphic designer to design and produce high-quality print materials for Meditech's customer events. Job number 10640925. Mental Health Associate. The Corrigan Community Mental Health Center, located at 49 Hillside Street, seeks a part-time mental health associate to provide person-centered quality care to adult patients in need of acute psychiatric assessment and services. Job number 10632577. Operations Supervisor. Whirlpool Corporation, located at 933 Pleasant Street, is in need of a full-time operations supervisor to work with the operations manager responsible for overseeing the assembly and production operations. Job number 10635006. Seven Hills Foundation, located at 1402 Pleasant Street, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions. Family Support Specialist, job number 10629790. Care Coordinator, job number 10629789. Citizens for Citizens, located at 427 Robeson Street, is looking to fulfill the following part-time positions. Spanish Translator, job number 10620857. Energy Auditor, job number 10619887. For more information on these or other positions, visit jobquest.detma.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
We want you to hear it first.
A street sweeper is coming to your neighborhood. The Department of Community Maintenance, in cooperation with the Mayor's Office, as well as the Committee on Public Works, are collaborating to improve the cleanliness and overall appearance of our city streets. This restructured program runs through the summer. No parking times involve only a few hours and are similar to a parking ban during a snowstorm. This will enable the sweeper to reach both sides of the curb. Residents will have 1 day's notice to prepare, so be on the lookout for temporary signage. For more information, call John Perry at the Department of Community Maintenance at 508-324-2760 or contact Laura Ferreira at the Traffic Department at 508-324-2577. To see a list of the scheduled streets, visit the city's website at www.fallriverma.org.
You've heard it.
Now please help us keep our city clean. Thank you.
Welcome back. As the construction of a new BMC Durfee High School moves forward, so does a feasibility study to either build or renovate a new Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School. Here's an update.
They're where we were on the Durfee project about 2.5 years ago. So they're in the process of putting together a building committee. They're in the process of putting together their educational piece that'll be submitted to MSBA. They'll have to hire the owner's project manager, they'll have to hire an architect, and approach the city and the towns for some money to do the feasibility study. So that's kind of where they're at. They're in a good spot. I mean, they've been invited into the process, which is always helpful. And whether or not they move forward will be determining on, whether or not they get the funding from the cities and towns, and then how far along they get. We'll see what happens. But they need space. Diamond is overflowing. So they need space, and whether it's a new construction project or whether it's an addition, I'm glad that they're in the pipeline.
Now, do you think that Diamond and Durfee sort of happening at the same time is a problem?
I don't at all. I think that to get into into the pipeline for projects, there has to be a need, and the state sees that there's a need. Diamond has done very well with taking care of their building. They are, as I said, they're busting at the seams. A lot of students there. I think the school was designed for 900 students. There are about 1,400. So every nook and cranny is being used. But they've done a good job with getting there this far, and I think the MSBA recognizes that the need is there.
Members of the small business community in Fall River can sign up to participate in free workshops to help ease the burden of operating their companies on a shoestring budget. Sponsored by the Fall River Office of Economic Development, the workshops will be held at the Cherry and Webb building over the next few weeks.
The purpose of the workshops are to hopefully better educate some of the members of the small business communities that pertains to various issues that they're dealing with on a normal basis. Issues such as accounting, legal, marketing, just to help these small businessmen and women get a better understanding as to some of the programs that exist out there, some of the technology that exists, and also identify areas where they can get some assistance.
All right, so it's not just for startups.
No, it's just not for startups. It's for businesses that have been in business for a number of years. It could be a refresher for older businesses and more mature businesses, but certainly it's a tremendous asset for new business startups as well. Small businesses have a lot of challenges. They're usually one-arm paper hangers. They're trying to do everything themselves. They're trying to run their business, oversee their books, do the marketing, do the advertising, public relations, tenancies, the whole issue. So, small businesses, I think, can use the information that's going to be provided to them as a guidebook, to help alleviate some of their stress. I see a lot of small business owners under a lot of stress because they're trying to do everything, and it takes a while to get from point A to point B, and you want to get there in such a fashion where you don't lose your mind, right, because of all the stress that's taking place, but you also want to do it in a fashion where you have checks and balances along the process, which will make your journey easier.
Fall River businessman Joe Marshall recently formed a nonprofit organization in an effort to raise money to build a $300,000 Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, similar to the one in Washington, D.C., at Fall River's Bicentennial Park. Marshall recently received his first donation from the latest Men Can Cook fundraising event. Here's a look back.
The Men Can Cook event was really incredible. So many people participated, so many chefs, and we had nearly 300 people in attendance, an incredible crowd. And it's just great to know that we're able to make that contribution this time for this purpose, this Vietnam Wall, that really is going to change the landscape here down at Bicentennial Park. And as the mayor mentioned, the Gold Star Memorial, the Korean Memorial, and Iwo Jima, of course. But how fitting it is when we think of the numbers of individuals who have served our country over the years from our area, and to be as close as we are to Battleship Cove, the largest fleet in the country of ships from that era, World War II. So it's great to do this, and I'd like to present that check. Yeah.
You get the check. You get a check.
to nice check. The chair of the wall committee, to Mr. Joseph Marshall. We raised $7,000, and that goes a long way. Thank you.
And we'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Forever Pause. I'd like to introduce you to Clifford. Clifford is about 2 years old. He is about almost 100 pounds. He's between 90 and 100 pounds at this point. Neutered male. And he is very, very loving this right now. I didn't realize how much he likes to chill with people. Did you like the camera? Huh? Gonna see yourself on TV later? Oh, what a sweet boy. Yes, you are. So he's missing somebody, that's for sure. But he'll be coming available whenever you want to come down and see us. We're open from 11 to 4 every day but Wednesday here at Forever Pause, and we'd love you to come down and see him. He is a very nice boy.
Today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have 2 guinea pigs. They are adolescents, about 8 weeks old. This is Jordan with the black and brown, and this is Luke on the other side. As far as we're aware, they are siblings. Guinea pigs are extremely social animals, so it's great to adopt them in pairs because they like to chatter and talk to each other. You don't have to adopt both of them at once, but it's nice to have. They love friends, they love food. Guinea pigs also have a vitamin C deficiency, so they need lots of carrots and guinea pig specific food so they can live a long, happy life. They're pretty docile. They are okay to hold. Getting them is a process, but once they're in your hands, they're pretty chill, as you can see. Come visit them today at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, located at 300 Linwood Avenue in Fall River, Massachusetts. Open every day, 11 to 4, except for Wednesdays.
Next year, the City of Fall River will be negotiating a new contract with Comcast to provide cable service to subscribers. Public input is essential to a successful contract renewal. To collect this input and to better position the city to meet its communications needs for the next 10 years, FRCmedia has commissioned a community needs assessment. We need your help. We're asking residents to take part in an online survey to get your reaction to the service Comcast provides in the city and how we can better utilize our community television channels, FRCmedia, Fred TV, and FRG-TV. For more information and to take the survey, visit frmedia.org/survey. Those who participate will be eligible to win one of 2 $100 Amazon gift cards. Help us shape the local communications landscape in Fall River. Take our online cable TV survey at frmedia.org/survey. Griffin Park in Fall River's Corky Row section recently got a facelift thanks to money provided through community development block grants.
We're excited about this opportunity. We're happy that we have a safe park, a friendly park for people to come and enjoy, neighborhood members, and of course other people that may want to come in and see Griffin Park as well. We also have Ray Haig here from the Veterans Association, my VSO. Yeah, and you know, as many people know, the park is named, of course, after a veteran killed in combat, and we have the stone, the memorial here. And just coming off of Memorial Day, every single year, people would come here on Memorial Day weekend, and the park was in rough shape, and now it really is a much more improved park with even a flagpole, which was missing for a number of years. So we're really excited about that. We have Nancy Smith here, who runs our park department. She's got a lot of space to cover, and she's got a lot of priorities, but as soon as we told her that this park was a priority to get done, she made it happen and got it done in time for the summer season here.
Well, welcome to Corky Row and to Griffin Park, our brand new Griffin Park. People who are familiar with this park won't be recognizing it. They just won't be able to make sure that they're in their place that they're expecting to walk into, because it's so beautiful. It is so different. And I want to thank Mayor Correa. I want to thank the City Council, the Park Board, the Park Department, CDA. This was a team collaborative. It is a sacrifice to the City of Fall River. And as much as I would love to be able just to keep going back and asking for more help, the real call I want to make right now is to the residents of Corky Row and to the ownership of the properties here. This park has been given to us in such a beautiful condition. It's time that the residents here step up, take care of the park, care for this park, protect it, and also the neighborhood as a whole.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and online at our website, frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.